giant box. Yeah, is that better?
No,
Better acoustics?
maybe this is better. I don't know.
It's a giant box, and it's Star Trek. Now, I like Star Trek. I would not call myself a Trekkie or a Trekker or whatever you want to call the diehard fan. I've watched a lot of episodes of a lot of the shows,
Right.
and I enjoy them, although Doctor Who's better. But, but
Sorry.
it is a very enjoyable genre, and so this is a game that...
We just went to TV 14 rating, sorry.
Yeah, now I have to check the violence box. Thanks. But this is a game that supposedly incorporates an entire season of Star Trek into one game.
Which is really cool.
Does it succeed? Well, I mean, we got to point out that it comes with 24 miniatures. Some of the best Star Trek miniatures I've ever seen. They're not painted, and who cares? They're that good, I think.
Yeah, they are.
Now, before we get into the review, I must mention that this is an expensive game.
Yeah.
Retails at $100. I mean, I'm sure you can find it online, funagain.com, for a cheaper price.
Shameless promotion.
Yeah, but that being said, I mean, it is expensive, but I guess we're supposed to wait to the end to say our opinion, but I think that this is worth it. Let me show you why. Here's a picture of a game in progress. All right, we don't have time to go over every rule in this game, so I'm just going to talk briefly about some of the things of this game. First of all, I mean, let's take a look at these miniatures. There's 24 in the game. There is 12 for each side. You have Klingon and battle cruisers and fighters. You have some of the most famous ships. Here's the original Star Trek Enterprise. Here is Venture. Then here's the new updated Star Trek Enterprise. You know, they have a lot of these famous ships are in the game. And each ship has a card that comes with it. And this card tells you the size and some information that's maybe special abilities. And then you see all these numbers and you're like, wow, what are all these numbers? It's not so confusing. It's just weapon sensors, engines, and shields. And each ship has a certain number. All these are on the dial of the ship. So you can rotate that dial and get any numbers you want. So you just look at the card to see which set you want. So basically, it's an easy way to say I'm transferring power from the engines to the sensors, etc. And you notice there's white, yellow, and red. If your ship takes a damage, then you're down to these choices. If it takes another damage, you're down to these choices. If it takes another damage, well, you're dead. The way the game works is you're going to start with a certain number of ships. In a basic game, you start with 10 points worth of ships. Each ship is worth a certain amount of points. This giant ship here, this big Klingon battle cruiser, is worth 6, while like the smaller one here is only worth 1 point. And you get these ships randomly. You draw them from a deck. And then, depending on what ships you draw, you're going to be drawing different missions. There's 3 kinds of missions. There's red combat missions, there's science missions, and there's influence missions. Influence missions are usually about control 3 installations. Some of the missions are secret. Your opponent doesn't know what they are. Here, you have to make a successful sensors test. Here, you have to inflict damage to 2 different enemy ships in combat during the same turn. So there's different missions that you have to accomplish, which are usually worth 1 to 3 victory points down here. On your turn, it's very simple. You're going to move each of your ships across this space. Now, at the beginning of the game, all the locations, which are random, and you can see this is the standard game, we're not even using all the locations that are in the deck. All the locations, when you move, you will go by your engine speed, and this is a neat mechanic. Let's say my engine speed is 9. I can always move 1 hex for 1. After that, if I go to a new location, I will use the size to show how much movement it takes to go through it. So this is 6, so then I have used 7 movement, and then I go to the next hex, etc. That's a pretty neat mechanic. When you explore a new location for the first time, sometimes it's not so exciting because it's a black hole, but other times it's okay, but then you have to roll this down here. It says an encounter 1 to 2. I will then roll a die, and if I roll a 1 or 2, I will draw from a deck of encounter cards. And in these encounter cards, all sorts of things can happen. A civil war, a mirror universe, an independent trader, Ferengi traders, all sorts of different things. Look, Q can show up. And all these events can happen. Some are good, some are bad. Sometimes they provide victory points. You can see up here in the corner that you can add to your victory point pile. And so you're going around and you're exploring, you're establishing bases and star bases. Each turn you can move all your ships and you can do 3 actions. These actions can be establishing bases, putting control markers down, or attacking other ships. When you attack, or when you do a sensor test, or an engines test, there's all different tests that are done in the game, you will compare the number on your ship. You will also roll a die, and then you can play cards from your hand. Another cool mechanic of this game is that the game comes with 10 decks for each side. Each deck has a name. Like, for example, this is Captain Kirk deck. And there are 10 cards in this deck, including McCoy and Spock. Then we have a Starfleet Command deck with Admiral J.P. Hansen and different cards in that deck. We have a Strange New Worlds deck with there's Neelix and Janeway's in that deck. We have the Evasive Maneuver deck with Tom Paris. Here's the Wild Space deck with Odo and an Orion Slave Girl and Quark. Yay, Quark. And there's a Picard deck and stuff. And so you have 10 of these decks. Based on your ships that you start with, you say, okay, what game am I going to play? Combat heavy. And you look at the different cards. You will pick 4 of these decks. 40 cards, shuffle them together, and that will be your command deck for the game. So that's a huge amount of options that you have. And it's basically like a deck building at the beginning of the game. You pick any 4 of the 10 decks. After you pick these decks, and when you play these cards during the game, some cards can be played in combat, or they can be played onto a ship as crew, which will give that ship like an upgrade. Captain Kirk gives +2 weapons, and whenever it does an influence mission, you get an extra victory point. And there's extra victory point ships that you can play. And there's also, you get victory points when you destroy an enemy ship. If your ships are destroyed, don't worry, because you can bring in more reinforcements and bring in another ship to take its place. You'll meet all kinds of strange things. You can use sensor tests before you go into a new area. You can look at it secretly and find out what it is. You can cloak a ship and put 2 tokens on the board. One of them is the cloak ship, the other is just an echo, and move them both around so your opponent doesn't know where your ship is. You can get permanent upgrades with these tokens. You can put out resources. You can, if you don't like the missions you have, you can discard them and draw more, so you can keep going till you get the missions you want. You can transport away teams down to planets. You can establish star bases. You can try to transport an enemy crew member off someone else's ship. You can repair your ships when they're damaged. There's really a lot going on. And there's a fairly big rule book that explains everything, but it is not a complex game. Because all the things that happen in this game make sense. They all work from a very straight thematic level. You know, when you transport someone off someone else's ship, you use your sensors versus their shields. When you put someone on a ship, you know, if you put Wesley Crusher on a ship, then he adds +2 to engines and +2 to shields, whether you stick him in engineering or as an officer. Or you can just use him as a one-time card for +4 shields. And so everything works really well. The tests are very simple. And you go in the basic game until someone gets 10 victory points, which you store here as you collect them, which they could be tokens and counters and so on and so forth. You can play a longer game or a shorter game. You can play a team game where 2 players are the Federation and 2 players are the Klingons. And expansions are in the works already for other races. But even right now, there's a ton of variety in the game from all the different mission cards and the locations and just everything that's going on. It's a very good game. A 10-point game takes about 90 minutes to play, especially when you know what you're doing. I think you can get it down faster than that, but with a wide variety of options on your turn. But at the same time, it's not like you sit there and go, oh, I don't know what to do. You usually have some kind of focus with the missions that you've drawn. First player to 10 points is the winner. All right. Look.
Well, he's taking his tie off, everybody.
This is one of the best games I've ever played, ever.
Woo-hoo.
And I think when you look at my body of work of a review, one of my main things I like is theme, and I don't know how this game could have gotten any more thematic.
Right.
Everything's in it, from the temporal rift to the nexus to a mirror universe. There's one of the cards, you exchange your hand with your opponent's hand, so then you can stick on Klingons on the Federation ships.
That's awesome.
They're from the mirror universe.
Right.
And there's so many different events that can happen. The Tribbles are in it. You know, there's different ships. All the main characters, not all of them, but most of them are in the game. Stealing people, attacks. The Klingons feel like Klingons. The Federation feels like Federation. It's one of those games that when I go home, after I'm done playing a game of it, I will think about the game and think, oh man, that was really cool. I did that, and I wonder if I should have tried this. And we talk about it. You remember that time you did this? It's great, fantastic.
What he said, double it. The game is spot on as far as theme is concerned. The cards that are included, all of the different characters, and really this begs more expansions, and they're coming.
The expansions, yes,
they're coming. So it's just really one of those things. Myself, I'm a Star Wars fan, and I'm playing this game. I'm thinking to myself, I wish Star Wars had a game like this, because it's just one of those things. So Wizkids, hint hint. There's probably more Star Wars fans out there that will just jump all over this.
Fantasy Flight has that, but maybe the same designer. But here's the thing, though. I was thinking about that too. I don't know that the Star Wars license would work in this style of game, because Star Wars, the universe, is more about combat than anything else.
And you say that like it's a bad thing.
No. But this game, the way the exploration and everything, it does work. You could play this game and never shoot at your opponent's ships if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But you can.
You wouldn't be able to call yourself a Klingon if you did that.
and like Sam said, I'm so pumped about seeing Romulans, Borg, Cardassians, even the Ferengi. Well, whatever.
Least favorite race. Wow.
So, but there's so much room for more cards. The things I really like, the deck building mechanic at the beginning is awesome.
Very cool.
Because there's so many variations. The ships are random, but you just work with what you get. Mm-hmm. And I like that the universe is always different. You don't know what you're going to find, although you can be careful and censor everything and look, or you can just go full bore. Right.
And the randomness of the ships is really fits well into the theme, because if you think about it, you don't always have your big guns available to you. You have this ship over here, and this ship happened just to be in this sector, and that type of thing. So that really fits cool too. I like that you can't pick your ships, because you'd always pick your best ships, and that's just not the way it works.
But they're all good in their own way.
Yeah.
And I think the game feels very balanced. Mm-hmm. It feels like if you want to do technological stuff, if you want to go for science or this, that's balanced with the guy who will come hunt you down. In this game, it encourages combat, and you can really go hunt people down, but they can still win.
Yeah, that's true. And
unfortunately,
that's what happened. The game we just got through. And really, I almost feel like he let me win, because you only had 2 points?
No, I had 4. Come on now.
Okay, I'm sorry. 4.
I killed the Enterprise.
Yeah. Okay. No. See, we let you kill the Enterprise because it was the Enterprise A. And it had to die so that all the other ones could come. So
but listen,
that's okay.
The fact that we're talking about this, we're not saying, well, I got 3 victory points in round 6
right? Yeah,
because I put my worker in the castle. Remember that moment?
Right, yeah. Yeah, no, he destroyed the Enterprise. Now, he was kind of picking on the big, he was a big guy on the block picking on the little guy, because it was only a size 3. My guy was a size 2, and his was a size 6.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal.
Bully.
I know that this is a hefty game. Bully. It's a pricey game. The card quality is not as good as I want. I talked to the guys who made it, and they said that this has low of a price point as they get with all the stuff. You really do. You get 270 cards in here, a ton of tokens, a ton of 24 really nice models. Right. And a really good rule set. So, and all those tiles, there's just a lot in this game. And honestly, I could see myself playing this 50 times without any expansions. And I think it would play differently every time. Yeah. I cannot give this a higher, I'm not giving this any thumbs in a sense. I'm giving this a 10 out of 10 for my opinion. And I'll give it is this the right symbol? Here, this is the 4 fingers up? Forward?
Man.
Sorry.
Come on. What's wrong with you?
I'm not a Trekkie. I'm sorry.
See, I messed it up too, so it's okay.
But I love it. Love it.
It's all right. Yeah. I'm on board too. I'll give it, I don't know. I don't know about a 10. That seems rather extravagant. I'll go with a 9.
Okay. Oh, how terrible.
Yeah, I'll downgrade it 1. And really the only reason, and again, Tom talked to the guys about it, and it was purely a financial decision. They were trying to keep the cost of the game as low as possibly can, but the card quality is a little bit lackluster, and the hexes that come with it are also lackluster. I wanted some thicker.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix the hexes. The
thick-
cards I
thicker
can
hexes.
sleeve.
Well, I don't know. You can probably do some of the Memoir 44 guys have done the, using the styrofoam bases and mounting the hexes on top of the foam bases or the whatever it's called. So there's ways that you can upgrade the game and make it cooler. But
I'm happy as is.
yeah,
I really am.
it's not that big of an annoyance. The card quality can be helped with sleeves. The hex quality, you'll just have to deal with it. But I don't think it's that big of a deal because you're flipping them over anyway. So maybe it's a little too clunky to have the thicker cardboard up there. So
I'm calling it now. One of the best games of the year, easily. The Mike Elliott is rocking.
yeah.
Thunderstone, Quarriors, Star Trek, Fleet Captains. Mike, if Mike's name's on a game, buy it. Seriously.
Now, what I've heard of the other Star Trek game,
Well, that's Reiner Knizia.
I've never played it, but what I've heard of it, this one blows the socks off of it.
Yes. This
So-
one that's coming out to the table, we're like, are we going to get the other one to the table? The Knizia one? Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Wait.
But anyway, we're taking too long in this review as it is. Check out this game. It's a winner.